with all of our mattress savings at Slumberland Furniture, Beaver Dam, and Watertown.
The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
Thank you very much, Ashley, and welcome back to Let's Talk here at the Beaver Dam Unified School District on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. I am Wade Bates, sitting in with, once again, the esteemed Superintendent of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, Dr. Mark DiStefano.
Oh, thank you so much, Wade. It's always an honor to spend the morning with you.
It is. Exciting time here, and we have a guest here today we'll talk about in a little bit. When do we bring in Ryan?
Ryan Cashman, our Director of Business Services, is going to be the meat of the program today. So we're gonna get into some conversation about budget after we talk through some celebrations, etc. So really looking forward to that conversation. Really glad Ryan's with us.
It should be fun here, and it's been a fun couple of weeks. You know, homecoming. You got the fall sports. A lot of successes with Beaver Dam, and in athletic competition. You got the plays starting up and going. You have the concerts and choirs were in action this week.
Yeah, it's been really an awesome time. And since we last spoke, obviously at homecoming, really a successful event. Participation was great. And I think one thing that's really special about our community is that homecoming event is not just a high school event, right? I mean, it truly is a community event, and we see K-12 engagement, students, staff, parents, families. So really, really wonderful, and a lot of successes throughout the week with different things that were going on. And obviously, most importantly, our student body had a safe weekend, which is really something that we strive for and hope and pray for. So glad that worked out.
Yeah, it's fun. You really talk about community engagement, because homecoming parades, some go to some communities and go to them. It's the kids from the school, a couple of parents, and you go. If you were downtown Beaver Dam on Friday afternoon, and number one, you saw the middle school got out, and all the people from the middle school flooded over there. Oh yeah. And then you had the elementary people going, then just communities in general. You're like 10 deep down Front Street, and the kids going through in the floats, and the enthusiasm that people have. Beaver Dam's a school. It's big enough where you can get big crowds, but small enough where people still care. Yeah,
no, it's really great, and we always love that support in the kids. I mean, the kids that are in the parade, obviously, really vibe off that and make a lot of memories during that experience. And I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to the partnership with that we have with our city leadership, particularly when we're talking about like law enforcement, Department of Public Works, all those things. And they take a lot of extra time and effort to make sure that experience is quality, is safe. And if you're in and around that area, people saw the presence that they have and the extra measures that they take to ensure that that's a safe event. And they do that for other parades. They're very, very good at that. But we're just so appreciative of how awesome they are to work with and the investment that they have in making sure that that's a quality experience. Sure. Very special.
So, wrapping up the football season here, you got soccer going into the postseason. McKenna Nelson had a great run at state again.
Yeah, I mean, she continues to demonstrate that she is one of the most elite golfers in the state of Wisconsin, and really cool that our girls qualified for sectionals that we had it here in Beaver Dam at Old Hickory, and that's always really special when we're able to host events like that. And the golf one's a little bit different probably in how that draw process works. I'm not as familiar, but we work really, really hard as a system to make sure that one, we're putting together facilities and experiences that are outstanding for our kids, because we believe that our students in Beaver Dam deserve to have quality experiences. And then we work really, really hard to make sure that we're able to celebrate that and bring other communities in, whether it's hosting sectional wrestling events or playoff basketball games, or hosting other divisions. Sometimes it's not even us, right? So area schools coming and using our facilities for different things. So really great that the golf course here in Beaver Dam was able to bring in a few extra people into the community for an event like that too. So pretty awesome. Stuff. Yeah.
Anything else, staff and student-wise? I mean, there's so many things going on. Where do you want to start?
I one of the things that I don't think it got lost, but I don't know how much we talked about it last time was, the final transition from Wilson to Washington took place this year, and it's just been a great start. So tip of the hat to the staff and the families and all the work that they've done. It's gone very, very well. Washington is an outstanding school. A lot of great things going on there. The construction projects ahead of schedule, that always helps, obviously, with the transition, and the spaces that the students are able to engage with are awesome. But just that transition, I mean, that's a big deal. And they did a lot last year, and I know we talked about that to kind of tee up and increase that level of connectivity between the different groups of students, if you will. But it's really been a wonderful start. So I just want to commend the staff and the families for investing in making sure that's been a great experience.
Great stuff, and exciting to see how that continues to evolve and everything else in the district and continues to evolve here. As we talk with Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano on 95.3 WBEV.
Can I quiz you?
Yes.
Can I
sure.
quiz you?
Uh-oh.
Okay. I want to quiz you. So I'm going to just list off some sports or activities. And I want you to let me, we're going to be very transparent here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not pulling any punches.
Nope.
I want you to let me know whether or not you think participation in these particular sports or activities is up this year or down
In the district?
in our district.
Okay.
Okay. Football.
I'm going to say I know football is up.
Oh, you know that.
I shouldn't say no. Coach
very
Liddy's talked
confident.
about that. They were like in the 120s.
Well,
when
he's
you
telling
started.
the truth. So football's up.
Okay.
Cross country.
Cross country, I know that on the girls' side they have a few more kids. They lost a big group last year, but they have few freshmen coming up. I'm going to say the boys have a pretty big group. I'm going to say is it slightly up?
It's up. It's
Slightly up. Yes.
Yep.
I'm just doing the numbers of who graduated, who's back.
Okay. HOSA.
HOSA, I bet you HOSA is up.
HOSA is
I
up.
have children involved in HOSA. They love
HOSA
it.
is up.
Mr. Betcher does a great job.
So our health occupations, kind of like future, think nurses, doctors, physical, people that are passionate about that. Skills USA.
I'm going to say Skills USA is up.
It's up. It's up.
Okay.
All right. Last one. Robotics.
Robotics is one of those things that's catching fire. Not only here, but all over the place. We have 2 robotics teams, as you know.
Fuego.
Do we have 2?
We have 2. All right. Robotics is up. So,
I was sweating here. Felt like
how,
I was,
how awesome is that?
I know. Just the fact that just extracurricular, extra opportunities that not only, are somewhat engaging and fun, but also, enriching type things that really can help, kids in their development.
Yeah,
both,
they're all level up.
Yeah.
Extensions of the curricular experience. So that is that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So just a couple things to highlight too before we dive into our school of the month, which is Beaver Dam Middle School. But FFA held their annual pork chop dinner and auction. That's dubbed as like the LOUB, Leadership Opportunities Unlimited Banquet.
The LOUB.
I don't know. I'm looking at him because he was a former FFA or from a different community. But anyway, so that was great. Wonderful attendance. I mean, really, it's always pretty strong, but it was like next level attendance this year. Part of that might have had to do with the fact that there was no conflict with the Packers playing on that particular weekend, but that was really, really great. Really appreciative. I know that the FFA is super thankful for that. Marching band. Our marching band, great, doing a great job. Bruno Mars. And get this, if you haven't had the opportunity to see them yet, they will be performing at our last official home game of the regular season, which is this Friday. And it is football team's senior night. It is marching band senior night.
Parents' night.
And parents' night as well for the football program. So it's a big deal. And you get to see the marching band perform at halftime, and of course, play different spirited songs throughout the game. So pretty exciting. And last but not least, before we dive into the middle school, Brigadoon.
Brigadoon.
Should we ask Ryan what Brigadoon's about, or is that not fair?
Ryan, do you know what Brigadoon is about?
I have no idea what Brigadoon
It's
is.
kind of like
It's a fall musical.
Yes, and it deals little sci-fi time travel, kilts involved.
Kilts.
Yeah, there could be kilts.
Scottish Highlands.
Okay, here's the deal. Okay,
Tourists.
Ryan really supports the community, doesn't he?
He does.
I talked to this Ryan Gerber a little bit. Okay, Mark Lefebvre is buying some kilts.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different people in the district's responsibility to wear kilts.
Oh, I wear a kilt. I'm a Highlander.
Yes, exactly. So then, because what's going to happen, you around town. So if somebody stops you while you're in Front Street, just taking a
buy a
walk.
kilt.
Hey, Ryan, why are you wearing a kilt? Brigadoon. Come get your tickets. It's happening mid-November.
I'd do that. I'd say it right here. I will definitely sport a kilt.
You're gonna wear it, right?
Yeah. One day. It's
day
got to
you'll-
be a little cooler. but not too breezy.
Okay, Mr. Lefebvre, you heard that. Mark DeStefano is committed to wearing a kilt for a 24-hour
Absolutely.
span.
As long as I can be responsible for acquiring my own kilt, because I don't know if I'd want to wear something he handed me, but it'll be fine.
So yeah, Brigadoon, they're working hard. I think they're going to start doing full run-throughs here pretty soon, and should be good.
And I don't know the whole history of Brigadoon as a fall musical in Beaver Dam, but my understanding, based on a little bit of recon, is there are some classes from, I don't know if they were the 60s, but I know the 80s, I think. But previous classes have done this.
A couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times. So really looking forward to that. Anytime you have a love story fall musical, Wade, I think that's pretty special.
It is. And they always do a great job of picking them out. Like last year, Les Mis was as good as I've ever seen at the high school level.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And so this one should be great because I know the backstory of Brigadoon. I've never actually saw like a version of it at all. So I have no idea what I'm walking into.
Well,
just
maybe
the
something
basics.
will happen for you in Tuscany that's similar.
Yeah, Brigadoon.
You never know. Not Brigade. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the middle school. We appreciate your reference to kids being late at the middle
because
school.
the impossible. Comes from true fact. We ask the impossible question every day at like 7:15, and we have been told there are people that wait in their cars with their kids until they get the answer.
Yeah.
So I feel personally responsible, or Sherry, because if she doesn't get them right, to Mr. Kraus if kids are late.
Sure.
To school because they have to wait and figure out the answer.
Now, I haven't been able to determine this, but I'm curious as to whether or not anyone's actually tried to use you as a legitimate excuse for being late to school. That would be outstanding.
Walked in there. Sherry couldn't get the impossible question. I blame Wade. It was too hard.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so middle school, really excited for the middle school. Brandon Krause, as we've mentioned before, has moved over there as the principal, and he was just so excited for that opportunity. And really a neat team at the middle school. So we're serving around 600 students, 100 staff all in, if you think about like teachers, support staff, custodians, right, office staff, things like that. But what's really neat about that middle school leadership team, one is you've got somebody like Brandon who has the academic and systems prowess to really help take the middle school to where it can go, which I believe could be one of the highest performing middle schools in the state of Wisconsin. As long as we get the continuity there and we support some of the shifts and change, because that's always tough for people, right? His expectations are high, but that whole team is like all in Beaver Dam. They all live in Beaver Dam. 2 of the 3 people there are alumni, deeply passionate and committed alumni. You've got the principal who's living in Beaver Dam, and our kids are going to our schools, obviously. So just really neat, the level of investment, expertise, energy, and focus there. And we're really, really hopeful for the future at the middle school. And they've had a good start. He's working through some of those transitions with just expectations. Supporting those with his team. They're doing a great job continuing to celebrate students, which is really, really important that we do that. And we honor and call out those, demonstrations of excellence. So people see like that's what we're shooting for. And they've kept up. I know last year they had started and they continue to do. It's called the As program, as program, which is after school academic support. So they do that multiple times a week, and there's teachers working with kids for an hour after school. So something just to remind the community that program is in place, and anybody's welcome to that. So if your child's struggling, or you want them to have a nice, great landing spot to dial in some things and stay after. Maybe it just works better with your schedule. They can always participate in something like that. So just really pleased with the focus there. And I think, again, it's really important for us to know as a community that when you have these types of transitions too, that's really a neat opportunity to support and trust in the fact that there's some really skilled, very, very passionate people there. That are really committed to kind of taking that next big step for the middle school program.
All right, so it's great things that they're doing over there. Mr. Krause, I got to know him a little bit. He's a Prairie Viewer. My kids were as well, and great guy, very passionate about what he does. And you mentioned Brock and also Abby Schmidt over there as well. Both they're all bought into Beaver Dam, which is great.
100%. Green and gold. green and gold if you cut them. We don't cut any of our staff, so that's not something that we're willing to do.
No
Ryan,
cuts?
No, Ryan keeps an eye on our insurance premiums, and he's adamantly opposed to things like that. The other thing, obviously, with the middle school, really nice, we had the groundbreaking ceremony yesterday, which was a wonderful event, great turnout. We really geared it obviously towards kids, so they were the highlight, they were the lead-offs with things, and shoveled the first slate of dirt, and so really pleased with the people that were able to stop out and demonstrated their support and understanding of how this, from a vision standpoint, is really a great opportunity for our kids. So really pleased about that, and excited to start to make some significant progress over there probably in the next week. Hopefully start to dig in and get after things and really set up a great spring. That's the goal. At this point in time, we're trending ahead of where we need to be, but we're at kind of where we want to be, so that we can have a successful spring. Something that came up too, I know that some people obviously post and some pictures celebrating, and a lot of people obviously sharing their support and pleasure with seeing the kids there and that type of thing. But something that does come up too, just to reiterate, and I'll probably say something at the end, things come up still, like questions we tried to answer pre-referendum, and obviously the majority of our community supported that project, so here we are and here we go. But transportation comes up because it's on the south side of the city, centrally located for the district boundary. But for the kids that need the transportation, we're going to bus them. So we're going to do something that school districts have been doing for a very, very long time. And we do a great job of it, and we're gonna bus a few more kids when that opens up. But what's interesting is that more and more districts are busing more now.
Yes.
Even closer proximity to schools, and that's part of an effort to help kind of remove the variable as it relates to some attendance challenges that we've seen societally throughout the nation. So really looking forward to how having a few more routes and making getting to school more convenient actually for kids is really going to support potentially even better attendance. So really looking forward to that. But if people have questions, again, picking up the phone is always great. Talking to people, that's just the best way to probably do business, and how I think our community, at its core, has operated for over 100 years. Otherwise, the website, a lot of information out there, and what we've done too. Before we dive into budget, but what we've done is we have kept the core FAQ document pre-referendum. We keep that live on our website, because I even refer to it, as we're working through different parts of the process. These are the questions and answers that we provided the community, so we need to honor that throughout the process. You know what I'm saying? So we don't inadvertently drift. We've kept that there as a core landing spot, so when people have questions or things come up, I encourage them to go to that project page, and we'll keep that FAQ document up there. And again, that's just a good grounding spot, because at the end of the day, this is what we told our community, and this is what we're going to deliver on.
Yeah, and it's really easy to find if you go to bdusd.org and click on right, and kind of as you scroll down right at the top, basically, it's referendum project. You go, there's the FAQ, there's other information. Every update that you've had since you started posting here is on there. You can go back and see the progress.
Yep.
And it works.
Every month we do an update. We've got the actual pictures, the updated renderings on there, the updated building layout is on there, the Washington pieces are on there, the high school layout's on there. So just a nice ready reference. I know people like to get on and just click away sometimes, but there's actual accurate information that's available, and really convenient, I hope.
So I'm looking at the new updated building renderings. Are those the actual?
Yes.
Now they're not like specs. We kind of had a plan before. The ones you're seeing, I see you have floor plans, you have everything.
Yep. And these are the ones that, when you get to the point and the architects are like, hey, we're comfortable with you sharing those, then we're good.
Okay.
So that's what she's going to look like.
Look, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Learning
It's
space.
very practical. It's going to be built to last several decades, hopefully 100 years again, or more. And again, very practical, beautiful, quality made. We say like a really good Tahoe. It's not an Escalade, but we like good Tahoes.
A Buick?
Buicks. We just like good.
Is that more of a 1980s or 1990s?
Good quality American made with a with a long drivetrain warranty on it. So that's what we're shooting for.
Good stuff. Again, I encourage you to go to bdusd.org and click on the referendum project, and you can really get a look at what's going on there. Yeah. And it's going to be an exciting time for our community.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And the further we get in the process, the more sense it'll make for people that are still struggling to kind of wrap their head around it. And we really appreciate the conversations when people afford us the opportunity to do that. So
if anybody has questions, they can always email or call, right?
Yeah,
that's one thing. You don't just have to post on your social
Yeah.
medias. You can go right to the horse's mouth, and you guys will do your best to answer questions for them.
Yeah, 885-7300. They can get a hold of me directly, extension 1001. And I love the opportunity to speak with people. And sometimes people do call, and that's great. I really appreciate that. Or if they see me around at events, and people usually aren't shy sharing opinions, but I really appreciate the opportunity for us to engage in dialogue. I think that's really healthy.
Excellent, Mark. Again, good stuff there, and just keep up on that website here. Now we have I don't want to call it guest because he's been on before, but welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Mark, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, so Ryan Cashman is with us here, our Director of Business Services. So, he's done a great job of keeping a sharp eye on our finances. He's a key part of our strategic financial planning efforts. He's done a good job leading our team. He's very invested in our community as well. His children attend our schools, and his better half is an alumni, which is always a good thing. So he knows what it means to do right and be a phenomenal steward in our community. So we're excited to have him, and he's going to talk about our budget.
All right, Ryan, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So we're obviously in 3 months into the new budget, but just was afforded the information actually yesterday of where we're going to stand going into kind of this year's tax levy, the 25-26 budget, or we're wrapping up that process. And at the same time, we're also finishing up last year in regards to our audit and everything. So the school year, or what we would consider it, is the fiscal year 24-25. We ended up in the black, which is always a positive thing, and we were able to add about $150,000 into our fund balance, and that basically allows us to cash flow throughout the year. School districts don't get paid all their money on day one, so we get paid incrementally throughout the 12 months, and so that having that fund balance definitely helps with allowing us to cash flow at certain low points throughout the year.
Sure. Why do you think, I don't know if this is for either one of you, but just the fact that you were able to work in the black, because obviously people watch the news, they listen to the news, and that's hard. The districts are struggling now to do that. But why do you guys think Beaver Dam has been able to do that?
I can speak in generalities, and then Ryan can offer a little bit more detailed context. I think, one of the most important things for districts to try to do, but it's not easy, is to scale responsively and to make sure we're staffing to our enrollments. So the way that the numbers with like how many kids you're going to have and staff, sometimes it doesn't always pair beautifully. So sometimes it's harder for systems to adjust. We just have a really good system that we've built over the last, 7-8 years, things like that, of just being able to have a pretty good handle and respond proactively to position ourselves to operate within our budgets. The other thing that we do that we're really committed to, and we catch heat for this sometimes, but we maintain our facilities and we try to keep things under warranty. We try to fix things before they're so broke they're going to cost more money, things like that. So we try to stay really proactive. We have other systems, in place. We're very conservative when it comes to some expenses as well. And again, I think all districts try to do these things, and many of them do a good job. It is tight. There are things that sometimes we can't do, but at the end of the day, I think our focus, our ability to try to position ourselves proactively has helped with that. us help with that. So
Let's talk Beaver Dam Unified School District. We have Superintendent Mark DeStefano here and Director of Business Services Ryan Cashman on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Ryan, I guess I kind of hijacked you there, but continue on about where we're at
he
financially.
kicked me when I was talking, so I think that meant stop.
Okay,
No, I'm just
is that
kidding.
what it was?
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I would just echo Mark. I mean, obviously, staffing to enrollment is huge, and our staff makes up the vast majority of our budget in terms of their salary and fringe. So anytime, through attrition, some student enrollment adjustments at different schools, we're able to consolidate or move different staff members around. That's helpful, and we've done a really good job of that. And then maintenance, in terms of maintenance for the current, this past year, we always have a budget for maintenance, and we're committed to continuing to maintain our buildings and using those dollars every year. Obviously, with the community support of the referendum, that changed our maintenance a little bit, so that certainly did help us in the 24-25 fiscal year in that regard, that we don't have to long-term plan for our current middle school building, which was getting very expensive to operate. So that was a benefit for the 24-25 year, and will help us moving forward, obviously.
Great stuff, and again, it's always one of those. People try to follow the budget, and it's good to have Mark right to have good people in place that can kind of keep everything in line and all the T's dotted and the I's crossed, or what I mean.
I's dotted, T's crossed, Wade. But you're doing it. So this year's budget, Ryan, what's your take on that? How are we doing?
Yeah, so there's a variety of things that go into this year's budget. Obviously, we're in the first year of the new biennial that the state just approved in July, and that looks a little different than in years past. So the state is not giving us additional aid in terms of the revenue limit increase. So we get to add a slight increase for our per student count, but we're not getting additional aid from the state. So that can affect our tax levy a little bit in that regard, that we don't actually get we're getting about a 0.55% increase in terms of our total revenue for the school district, but none of that is coming from the state. So that will fall on local taxpayers. That being said, for the current budget, a big part of this year's budget is the referendum and that is going extremely well. And our projections for the tax levy, which our school board will approve at the end of the month, will be well below what we had anticipated and talked about throughout the process. So next year it will have there'll be a second borrowing of that will increase that a little bit as well. But for the first year, the impact will be relatively small from a referendum side of things. So
how does it impact it though when it comes to when you have your referendum project and you projected out costs and such? Because obviously it's things fluctuate and stuff. How does that impact budgets? If all of a sudden something costs a little bit more, something costs a little bit less. How do you account for that?
Sure. So outside of the borrow piece of it, when you actually talk about, when let's say, we go through a pretty extensive estimating process, and actually there's additional layers just because of some of the market volatility. At the end of the day, we have kind of larger cap numbers, and we do everything we can to always stay below that. So even when bids come back, then we determine based on the bid, is this a win bid, or is this going to be an overbid? And at the end of the day, we need to stay behind that number, and we're committed to staying not behind, underneath that number, so that we're delivering a project that's within the budget, honors that process. There were a couple stories throughout the state of Wisconsin, a few years ago where they'd get some numbers back and it was over budget, and those systems, one in particular, and I won't name it, larger system to the north, but they made some strategic decisions that, hey, this is more expensive than we anticipated, and we're going to go over budget on the overall project. We're not going to borrow more because the community said, in our case, 107, right? We're not going to borrow more, but they had, and the system's much larger, but they had other available dollars that they were able to put into it. At the end of the day, we're going to stay within this budget, period. And when we need to make adjustments, we're going to make adjustments to make sure we honor that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that part of this year's budget is going well. As far as the regular school year operating budget, I'll be presenting a balanced budget at the school, or at the annual budget meeting at the end of the month, and that is in part to We've got some significant increase in dollars to help out our special education department this year. That was a very positive piece of the state biennial budget. And just obviously staffing to enrollment, continuing to maintain our buildings, but we will be balanced at the budget hearing.
Okay.
So.
When Mark, when somebody says staffing to enrollment, can you kind of define that even more? What exactly that means?
Yeah, so based on particular numbers of, let's say, sections of, first grade, third grades, right? You have a different number of teachers, certified staff that are going to oversee those student classes. You also have certain support staff that are going to help provide supports associated with that, and other supporting positions throughout the district. So based on those ratios, we staff. And the reality is, what you have. Essentially, it's September, by the end of September, but you're staffing in the spring and in the summer. So the more you can position, reasonably forecast, or make sometimes some proactive adjustments to land that more efficiently, then you're going to be in better shape, so that you're not necessarily carrying staff that you don't necessarily need. And I will say, just we're in a fortunate time in education in some bizarre way, in that just the market and the realities allow us, generally speaking, to those efficiencies through attrition. When I started in education, it was different, and we were all used to getting, they weren't pink slips, but they were like notices of preliminary, non-renewal associated with, potential budget adjustments. We get those in the spring. So every spring we're wondering, do we have a job? Do we not have a job? And at that time, it didn't matter how great of a teacher you were. It was just basically, are you
Seniority, where you were.
Yeah, are you in your first, second, or third year? So those types of things would typically take place. Now we can typically do that through attrition. When we need to do that, and make sure we're positioning ourselves for that staffing. But you have to be strategic, because certain positions you're going to have to, hedge your bet, and you'd rather fill it with an outstanding person than not. So where you capture some of those efficiencies are really important at the end of the day. Any of those things we're trying to do as far away from the classroom as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, so this year we're actually budgeting to spend less than we did last year as a whole for the operations of the district. So that's positive. Now we're also getting less revenue, so that's why we balance it out at the end of the year. And hopefully at the end of the year we're able to realize some savings throughout the process and add that to fund balance, or make some purchases that we might have to make in the following year. We'll try to do it before the end of this fiscal year to just relieve some of that pressure going forward. So, but we're in a very positive spot. Our mill rate is right in line with all the other area districts around here, and our property values as a whole for the district did increase fairly substantial this year to 9.41%. So that does help relieve some of that levy pressure. As as values get more, the dollar amount gets spread out a little bit.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and what that looks like too, I think it's what's interesting is that a district boundary has multiple different municipalities, right, or entities, and town of Beaver Dam versus city of Beaver Dam versus Westford and Calamus and Trenton and Burnett and Oak Grove and things like that. The percent of the property valuation changes is different in that. So while our mill rate that the board will establish is a consistent number, the percent impact of that revenue, sometimes it can be confusing, because you could live on one side of a street and be in the town of X, and your taxes didn't really do much, and you could live across the way and your taxes have changed, and that has to do with some of the valuations that happen, and we don't create that valuation.
Correct. So we get those numbers from the Department of Revenue, and they are different, and they have been these since COVID, we've seen property values spike more often than not. And the different municipalities, when one is in the high teens as a percentage increase and one is in the single digits or negative, that that has a drastic impact on the school tax levy for your municipality specifically. So there is a discrepancy that. Again, that number comes from the state, and we have no control over it. But so we'll see that a little bit this year, similar to the last couple of years. But overall, our mill rate is not anticipated to increase much, and we're in a good spot.
Mm-hmm. So when you look at a budget, do you figure you have this number, and then does it matter just moving things around, trying to fit it kind of underneath where you're trying to go? Okay, move this here. Is it just kind of like a big puzzle?
It's a very big puzzle. So we put in where we think, a lot of that's based on historical data, and then we see where that comes up and whether that's under or over. Most of the time that first run is quite a bit over, and then we make adjustments. And I was directed, on my day one when I came to Beaver Dam, that I was not to present a budget that was in the red. So that directive is still holds true, and we move stuff around and make it work. So
it's good. He's doing a good job, and he cares a lot about the work that he's doing. And I think part of the thing that I think we can be really, really proud of is that we really do our best and hold true to not creating a dynamic where we're going to have to talk about taking away opportunities for kids educationally. That's part of the unique niche that we have here. The number of advanced honors, collegiate level programs that we have, the youth apprenticeship partnerships that we have, all this wonderful programming that we do, the phenomenal student to staff ratios that we have, and class sizes that we have at the elementary, things like that. Those are wonderful things, and to the extent possible, we really try to protect that when we're working through this process. And we've found ways to do it. And again, Ryan mentioned it, but one of the things that's positioned us to be in a relatively stable spot at the moment is that the community supported a capital referendum project that not only creates this wonderful opportunity for future learning experiences and just community value in this beautiful campus that's going to wind up being on the south side of the city for everybody to use, but it creates relief from some significant maintenance-related burden from older buildings and other facility needs that we had, and that allows us to focus our dollars in the classroom. So really, just again, the amount of gratitude that we have to be able to work with that variable in play is very significant.
When you have an older car, you think it's running in good shape, but you never know. Every time you turn the key, something could happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to decide which thing you're going to fix.
Yeah,
and which thing you can't fix.
Yeah, we're obviously the opportunity with the middle school now. It's going to hope, in most capacity, eliminate that burden on the budget.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, I hear people talking. We can't predict purely what future enrollments are going to look like in our district. Things change, and there are variables very much outside of school district control that'll impact enrollments. One is just societally, people have less kids, right? The state of Wisconsin's an aging state. So generally speaking, if all things stay the same, the vast majority of districts throughout the state of Wisconsin are going through kind of this static to slight decline process. And they'll continue to do that until it probably, circles back at some point in time. But what does change it is housing. And particularly single-family housing. So, at some point in time, more houses will go up. That'll change. So we've positioned ourselves now with our buildings, with the setups that we have, that we can adjust and adapt to that. So, we'll be able to respond to dips and rises. And from a facility standpoint, we'll be able to manage that and not be wasteful and not be pinched, which is a pretty awesome spot to be. And we're committed to setting up future generations for that, future generations of leaders, so they're not stuck in a particular spot.
Sure.
And a big part about that enrollment piece too is that we do have some control over is open enrollment, and we've been steadily improving with that over the last 3 years. This year we had 12 4K kids and 7 kindergarteners that open enrolled into our district. Well, that's 19 students. If they stay here for their 13 or 14 year career, they're worth money to us. So that's important. That really helps the budget. In 2 years, that's a $200,000 swing with just those 2 classes.
How does open enrollment work, and how you might kind of mention that impacts the budget by your total number of students in the district, determines how much funding you get from the state and things like that?
So basically, at the end of the year, the kids that come in, the districts that they live in, they write us a check. They don't actually write the check, but we get paid from them, and then we would do the same in return for the other districts. So, and we've been improving with that over the years. So that's really helpful. There's some legal requirements on how that works and how you can qualify, but generally, open enroll students are strong students, that want to be here for a reason. So that's really a big benefit to our community.
All right, Ryan, anything else budget-wise that I didn't interrupt you on as you're trying to get through here?
Just moving forward with the current year, obviously, again, it's fiscally conservative, but we are in a good spot. We've made, positioned ourselves well. So I think we'll be positive for this year and several years to come.
Which is always great to hear, right, Mark?
Yeah, no, it is, and something that we touch on is just this opportunity for dialogue and conversation, and a lot of times it's hard. I mean, a district's budget and some of the budgets when we talk about municipalities at the state level, I mean, there's goofiness about just how this system was created that we're operating in. So sometimes people have questions, and what we've got coming up in November is part of our commitment to continuous improvement. In our strategic plan efforts is we've got different months that are themed for opportunities for community members, people to come in and have some conversations with staff and offer feedback and perspective for us to help kind of polish out some of the planning and work that we have moving forward. This month has been about learning and academics. We actually have an engagement session tonight, so a plug between 5:30 and 7. Come to the ESC 400 East Burnett Street if you want to weigh in and share some feedback and perspective on academics. But for the month of November, which is coming up mid-November, we're going to formalize the date here probably by early mid next week. We didn't want to put that date out while the other dates are out for learning and academics. But on the financial side of things, we're hoping that we get some community members that want to come in, talk with Ryan, talk with other members of our team, and offer perspective and feedback relative to how we're doing with certain parts of the budget, what our strategic indicators should look like as it relates to our fiscal responsibility and prowess. So there's opportunities here coming up in November, and we're really hopeful. There's people in our community that are passionate about this. So let's come out. We've got coffee and some. I'm not making the cookies. Are you making the cookies?
I'm not making any.
Okay, but we'll have cookies.
Ryan Gerber,
like
you can have that. Ryan Gerber's
really good with cookies.
Yes.
But no, but in all seriousness, come out, have a conversation, see what things look like, and offer your perspective. That context will genuinely be used, and it'll be used to inform us gathering more information and putting together the systems that we will be holding ourselves accountable with through our strategic plan. So really excited about that and hopeful that we get some turnout this week and next week on learning and academics, and then looking into November, Ryan and his team will be leading the piece on the finances component.
Oh, and since you've always stressed full transparency, haven't you? Anybody's got an opinion because everybody's in this together in the community. Not hiding anything from anybody. Come ask the questions. Give us your opinion. Give you your opinion, and you'll take it in.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to have an opportunity to have the conversation and respond to it. And sometimes we can't be perfect, and sometimes there might be things that, boy, we wish we would have shared that, or wish we, if we have the conversation and get that context, then we know, and then we can be better. But it's through conversation and everybody being invested that we're able to continue to improve.
All right, Mark, as we have a couple minutes left here, any last words here before we bid adieu, at least for today?
Well, I think, Wade, I want to wish you a wonderfully safe trip to Tuscany.
We'll do our best.
I hope that if anything grand happens, that regardless, you're able to come back to Beaver Dam. Okay. So I know you're worried about certain things.
Well, no. What if the comet's an alien ship? What if I get caught in Tuscany for the rest of my life?
I think you're going to be fine. I think you're going to be just fine, and you're going to eat great food and make great memories. But
I've asked my wife if the first thing I would do there, I'm going to ask her where the nearest McDonald's is.
Oh boy, I hope they don't have one. They probably do. They probably do. So no, again, just want to reiterate, this week and next week we've got some opportunities for people to come in and provide some feedback and have some conversations around different key performance indicators associated with learning and academics. And don't feel intimidated by that too, by the way. You come in like it's our job to share that context. So anybody who's passionate and has an opinion should feel comfortable stopping by. Tonight's the first one, 5:30 to 7 at the ESC. We really value that dialogue, and people want us to be straight shooters. We need people to be straight shooters with us. And that helps us be better for kids and be better for the community. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do with all the work that we're doing. So as part of that, this is a great place to live. Every once in a while when different projects are going on, we won't talk about all of them, but in the community or otherwise, I think people get nervous. And part of that is because people are protective and they love this place. And their vision for what this place is, maybe hasn't shifted with the realities of shifts in time or otherwise, but I think it's coming from a spot that they really care about Beaver Dam. And they want it to be the best thing possible, and everybody's perspective of what that is might be different. But go back to your core foundation. The reality is most of you, if you're living here, you do love this place. So reground in that and find more things to celebrate. We're going to get through October here. We're going to be in November, a season of thanks and giving, and hopefully people can stay grounded in that.
And in the next 30 days, take a look at the district calendar on the website. You can find a concert, whether it be a band, orchestra, choir, Brigadoon coming up in a month, and just support the great kids in our community.
It's going to be awesome. Thanks, Wade.
All right, Ryan Cashman, Director of Business Services, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano as well. This has been a paid program. Opinions expressed are that of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, not necessarily those of Good Karma Brands here in Beaver Dam. This is 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Have a great day, everybody.
Go Beavers.